My ex needs me. What we have doesn't matter, she said, leaving me just before I was to receive her $50,000 ring and $200,000 business. That night, I transferred everything to her childhood enemy. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments what city you're watching us from. 5 years. That's how long it took me to realize I was sleeping with a snake. To pay for her masters, I sold my father's carpentry workshop, his saws, his lathe, the smell of old wood. They gave me $35,000 in cash. I gave it all to her. She promised to pay it back when she made it big. What I didn't know is that sacrifice forced me to move on while she studied. I used the few contacts my father left me to invest in real estate auctions. In 5 years, I multiplied the little I had left. That's why I had the money for the ring and the business. She thought I was still the same humble carpenter. Last week, when I reminded her of the debt, she laughed while painting her nails. "Oh, honey, that's ancient history. Don't be stingy." That night, I was the most stupid man in the world, sitting in the most expensive restaurant in the city. I had 2 things sent to my jacket pocket: a velvet box with a $50,000 diamond and the deeds to a turnkey business valued at $200,000. Everything in her name was going to be her early wedding gift. She arrived 45 minutes late. Not a kiss, not an apology. "This is the best you could get," she said, reviewing the menu with contempt. "Where's my gift? You said it would change my life, Renata. I wanted it to be special." Her phone vibrated. She looked at it. She smiled in a way she had never smiled at me. "Sorry, it's important," she answered right there in front of me, at our engagement dinner. "Hello, my love." Her voice changed completely. Sweet, warm. Yes, of course I miss you." She covered the microphone with a manicured hand. She looked at me as if she had just remembered I existed. "It's Damian, my ex. He's going through a tough time. He needs me." The waiter froze 3 meters away, holding a bottle of wine. She hung up after 5 eternal minutes. "Look, this isn't going to work." She dropped the napkin on the table. "He needs me. Our thing doesn't matter. 5 years or nothing." The entire restaurant fell silent. "What? You heard me." She grabbed her purse. "It's not personal. It's just that he's different." She got up, walked towards the exit. She didn't look back. I was left there with the ring in my pocket and an unpaid bill of $380. The waiter approached slowly, uncomfortably. I paid. I got up. I walked to the bathroom. I threw up 3 times. I washed my face. I looked at myself in the mirror. There was something dead in my eyes. I walked out normally. No one would have noticed anything. In the parking lot, I opened the ring case. I looked at it for 3 seconds under the lamppost light. I closed it, got in the car. My hands weren't shaking. At home, I found her iPad forgotten on the couch. I unlocked it. I knew her password, obviously, and I opened WhatsApp group chat, the girls. "Renata, the fool thinks he loves me, Anna. You still haven't asked him for the business. Renata, I found the documents on his desk 2 weeks ago. Business valued at $200,000. The idiot thinks it's a surprise, Laura. And then you leave him, Renata. Obviously, Damian and I have been planning this for 2 years. I'm only holding on for the money. 5 years. I was for 5 years." I checked her voicemail. There was one she had sent to Damian that same afternoon. Before dinner, I already found the documents on his desk. "My love, business valued at $200,000. The idiot thinks it's a surprise. Tomorrow I'll sign and officially leave him. We've been planning this for 2 years. We've almost won." I closed the iPad. I left it exactly where I found it. I sat on the couch, the same couch where we had planned our future. I looked at the briefcase with the business documents. I looked at my phone. 1:15 in the morning. I looked for a contact I had saved for 2 years. Marcella, Renata's cousin, the black sheep of the family. I dialed. She answered on the second ring. "Hello, Marcella. It's Javier, Renata's boyfriend. Sorry for the hour. I need to talk to you. It's urgent." There was a silence. "Did something happen?" I smiled for the first time in hours. "Yes, something happened. And I think you're going to like hearing it very much." "Did something happen?" I smiled for the first time in hours. "Yes, something happened. And I think you're going to like hearing it very much." Marcella was silent on the other end. I could hear her breathing. Renata, I confirmed. "But before I tell you, I need to know something." Do you still hate her as much as you did 2 years ago? She laughed. It was a dry, humorless laugh, more perfect, because what I'm about to propose requires you to hate her with everything. I told her everything. The dinner, the call with Damian. 5 years or nothing. The forgotten iPad, the messages, the 2-year plan, the $200,000 from the business they thought they had secured. Marcella didn't interrupt me once. When I finished, there was a long silence. That bitch, she whispered finally. That bitch. There's more, I said, opening my laptop. Give me a second. I logged into my online banking. I checked movements from the last 8 months. There it was. Small transfers, always on irregular dates. $500 here, $800 there, $1,200 last week. I mentally added it up to $15,000. I went back to the iPad. I searched her messages with Damian. I found one from 6 months ago, a screenshot of a bank account. I compared the account number with the recipients of my transfers. It matched. Javier, are you there? Yes, I said. Sorry, I just confirmed that she stole $15,000 from me. She transferred it to Damian's account little by little. Over 8 months. Marcella exploded. I knew it. I knew it. That wretch was always like that. Since we were kids. Did I ever tell you what she did to me? No, we were 12. I kept a diary. I wrote everything. My fears, my dreams. The boy I liked, Renata, found it. Her voice trembled. She read it out loud in front of the whole school. During recess. 30 kids laughing at me. They called me the lovesick nerd until we graduated. I didn't say anything. I let her continue. At my 15th birthday party, she showed up in a more expensive dress than mine. During the waltz with my boyfriend, she seduced him. At my party, she took him to the garden. We broke up that night, Marcella. I'm not finished, she shouted. In college, I developed a business concept for my entrepreneurship class. 2 years of work. Renata saw it on my laptop when she came to visit me. 6 months later, she presented it as her own in a national competition. She won $50,000 and an incubator. My idea, my work. I heard her breathing with difficulty. She destroyed my life 3 times. Javier, and no one in the family says anything to her because she's the successful one. I'm the black sheep who couldn't make it in life. I waited 10 seconds. Then, do you want her to see you every day? Silence. What? Do you want her to see you every day? Do you want her to know you won? Do you want her to clean the toilets where you shit? She laughed. It was a different, dark laugh. God, yes, I want that. I want her to suffer. That can be arranged, I said, opening the briefcase with the business documents. But I need you to trust me and not to sleep tonight. We planned until 5 in the morning. Marcella had a contact, a lawyer who owed her a favor from years ago. We called him at dawn. He answered with a sleepy voice. Marcella, it's 6 in the morning. I need a favor. Urgent. How urgent? The kind that's paid for in cash and done in 24 hours. The next day, at 2 in the afternoon, the lawyer reviewed the original business documents in his office, a small place that smelled of old coffee and law books stacked up to the ceiling. Interesting, he murmured. The documents she saw on your desk were just drafts of intent. That's why she couldn't steal them before. The real transfer requires your biometric signature and the notary's seal that she was hoping to get from you after the engagement dinner. Since you never signed, the business is still a blank slate. We can put Marcella's name on it right now and register it before she tries any legal move. Can you draft new ones? I asked. Same business, different beneficiary. He looked at me over his glasses. It'll take 24 hours. Express service, $3,000. I took out my wallet. I gave him $300 bills. He counted them slowly. Tomorrow at this same time, he said, bring IDs and come ready to sign. 48 hours after that dinner from hell, Marcella and I were in front of a notary. We signed everything. Transfer of the business to Marcella's name. Lease agreement for the premises. For 10 years, I retained ownership of the property. She would pay a monthly rent of $2,000. Congratulations, the notary said, stamping the last document. Now it's officially yours. That afternoon, I hired a locksmith, changed all the locks on the premises, installed a new alarm. Only Marcella and I knew the code. Then I called the bank. I need to cancel 3 additional credit cards. All three. All three. Combined limit. $25,000. Renata had used them as if they were hers. Not anymore. The third day after the dinner, Renata arrived at the premises at 10 in the morning. I was inside waiting for her. I saw her through the glass, new dress, red heels, perfect makeup, the smile of "I'm here to sign my future." I opened the door before she knocked. "Javier," she looked at me surprised. "I didn't know you'd be here." "Renata," I said calmly, "I need to tell you something." "Sure, but first, where are the papers?" "I want to sign. I have plans for the afternoon." "The papers no longer exist." She laughed. "What?" "The premises are already rented. To someone else. The documents you were going to sign no longer exist." The smile froze on her face. "Are you kidding?" "No." She took her old key from her purse. She tried to open the door. The key didn't go in. She tried again. Nothing. "What did you do?" Her voice rose. "What did you do?" "I changed the locks." I said, "You don't live here anymore. You no longer have access." She pushed the door. The alarm went off. A high-pitched shriek that echoed throughout the shopping center hallway. Two security guards appeared running. "Ma'am, step away from the door. This business is mine," she shouted. "He stole it from me." The guards looked at her. They looked at me. "It's your premises, sir. It's not mine. It belongs to the owner. I just manage it. This lady has no right here." "A lie!" Renata shrieked. "Call the police. I'm being robbed." One of the guards took out his radio. 10 minutes later, an officer arrived. Renata showed him her ID, photos of her at the premises, my messages mentioning the business. The officer reviewed everything, then looked at me. "Documents." I handed him the deeds to the property in my name, the lease agreement in Marcela's name, the notary's certified transfer. The officer reviewed each page. Then he looked at Renata. "Ma'am, you don't appear in any document. There's no crime here, but it's mine." He promised it to me. "Promises are not contracts," the officer said. "If you have a civil problem, hire a lawyer. But there's no robbery here." Just then, Marcela appeared at the end of the hallway. She walked towards us with a confident stride. Renata saw her. Her face went from rage to confusion and then to horror. "No," she whispered. "Hello," Cousin Marcela said with an icy smile. "I'm the new owner." Renata was paralyzed. 3 seconds. 5, 10. And then she exploded. "You," she shouted. "You're a good-for-nothing. You'll always be the shame of the family." 15 people stopped in the hallway. They took out their phones. They recorded. I also took out my phone. I recorded everything in silence. Renata continued to scream, cry, insult. The guards had to escort her out of the shopping center. That night in my apartment, I closed the laptop. I had everything organized in digital folders. Evidence of the embezzlement. $15,000 transferred to Damian. Screenshots of the girl's chat. Recording of the voicemail where she planned to rob me. Deeds to the premises in my name. Video of Renata shouting insults in public. I looked at my phone. I had 47 messages from Renata. I didn't read any of them. I smiled. For the first time in months, I had absolute control, and she had no idea what was coming for her. Renata's 47 messages went unread. I didn't care about her excuses, her threats, or whatever she was making up. I had more important things to do. On Monday morning, my boss called me into his office. "Javier, sit down. We have a problem." He showed me his cell phone, a TikTok video. Renata crying in front of the camera with dramatic background music, edited clips of arguments we had months ago, taken completely out of context, me shouting, "That's enough." But the video didn't show that she had been insulting me for 20 minutes before. Me saying, "You don't decide that." But the video didn't show that I was talking about canceling her cards on my account. The caption, "When your partner controls you financially and emotionally." Abuse doesn't always leave visible marks. Financial abuse, financial freedom, 50,000 views in 24 hours. "Is this real?" my boss asked. "It's edited." I said calmly. "I can show you the full conversations. You need to resolve this now. If this escalates, we'll have to suspend you while we investigate." I left the office and called my lawyer. "I need to add defamation to the list." "What happened?" I explained. He asked for screenshots, the exact dates of the conversations, any inconsistencies in her narrative. I spent 3 nights without sleep, reconstructing every argument, every context. The lawyer charged a $5,000 retainer for the defamation lawsuit. I hadn't budgeted for that money. I took it from my emergency fund. While I was preparing the legal response, Marcella opened the business officially. First week, sales were 40% above projection. Customers loved the place. The reviews on Google were excellent. Renata responded by contacting the suppliers. Marcella called me on a Thursday afternoon. Javier, the suppliers are calling. They say Renata told them I stole the business, that the contracts are not valid. What did you tell them? I sent them a copy of the deeds, but 2 have already canceled deliveries. Give me their names. I called them one by one. I explained the situation. I sent them notarized documentation. I offered them more favorable contracts. 3 out of 4 agreed to continue working with us. On Friday, Marcella sent me a photo. Her car was keyed from side to side. The word thief in huge letters. Do you have cameras in the parking lot? I asked her. No, but I'm going to install them. Do it 4K with night vision and save. Everything in the cloud. I paid for the cameras. $2,400. Every stupid thing Renata did, I documented. Every message, every threat, every act of vandalism, and then came the blow I didn't see coming. A legal notice, a civil lawsuit from Renata against me and Marcella. She alleged that the business was built with common household resources during the 3 years of cohabitation. She was claiming 50% as community property from a de facto union. In fact, she attached receipts for household purchases that I paid for. Photos of us together at the premises during the renovation. 3 years of cohabitation documented with utility bills in both our names. My lawyer called me that night. Javier, this is delicate. She's using the concept of unjust enrichment and the de facto union. She alleges that while you were growing financially, she was giving you emotional and domestic support, which in this state gives her the right to compensation if we don't prove her bad faith and the theft of the $15,000. A judge could give her a slice of the business, just for the years they lived together. Does she have proof of prolonged cohabitation? If a judge determines there was a de facto union, she could be entitled to assets acquired during that time. We need to prove that all the capital was exclusively yours. Everything was mine. Then, give me every receipt, every transfer, every document that shows the origin of the funds, everything. I spent 2 weeks without sleep, literally, reviewing bank statements from the last 5 years, looking for every proof of every payment, reconstructing the entire financial history. My girlfriend of 4 months left me during that period. You're obsessed, she told me. You're not yourself anymore. You only talk about her, about the lawsuit, about destroying her. It's sick. She was right. I didn't care. I wasn't going to stop until I saw her completely destroyed. The forensic audit I commissioned revealed something else. Something even I didn't know. The $15,000 she stole from me was just the beginning. There was an online loan in my name, $25,000, approved with my scanned ID and digital signature. I never applied for it. I never authorized it. How is that possible? I asked the auditor. Someone with access to your laptop and personal documents. Online loans only require a scanned ID and a digital signature. If she had access, I checked the dates. The loan was requested just 2 weeks ago. The auditor said, she logged into your online banking, used your saved digital signature, and configured the notifications to go to an alternate email she created in your name. That's why you didn't notice the $25,000 landed in Damian's account 3 days before the dinner, where she stood you up. She planned to leave with the full loot. I looked for the account number on the iPad. Renata, it was Damian's account. It wasn't just theft. The bitch had committed identity theft. That's a federal crime. I called my lawyer. I have more. What else could there be? Fraudulent loan. $25,000 in my name deposited into her lover's account. There was a long silence. That changes everything. With identity theft, we can go criminal, not just civil. Do it. On a Tuesday afternoon, Renata showed up at the premises drunk. At 3 in the afternoon. The cameras recorded everything. She came in screaming in front of 5 customers. This business is mine. They stole it from me. You're buying from a stolen store. Marcella kept her composure. She called security. The customers, instead of leaving, stayed. One lady told Renata, "Ma'am, leave or I'll call the police." Another customer recorded everything and uploaded it to social media. Drunk woman causes a scene at a local business. 15,000 views in 2 days. While all this was happening, something else exploded. Damian posted a family photo on Instagram. Him, a woman, 2 kids. Caption, "My perfect family." Someone tagged Renata in the comments. Ha ha. And the other one. 300 likes on the joke. Renata deleted all her social media that night completely. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everything. And Damian, the son of a, also emptied the account they shared. $15,000 that she had saved with my stolen money. Apparently he took it and blocked her. Renata not only lost the business, she lost her lover, she lost her reputation, and she was about to lose much more. The apartment, my apartment where she had lived for free for 3 years. I gave her 30 days to get her things. She didn't respond to the notice. She ignored the calls. She pretended nothing was happening. On the 31st day, I changed the locks. I packed her things in boxes. I left them in the building's hallway. She ended up in a shared room with 3 strangers. I knew because one of her few remaining friends posted it on Facebook. How my friend Renata find a better place a Friday morning. She showed up at my office. Tight dress, perfect makeup, tears that seemed rehearsed. "Javier, please, we need to talk. We have nothing to talk about. I made a mistake. I know. But we can fix it. You and me like before." I took an envelope from my desk. I handed it to her. "What's this?" Open it inside. Defamation lawsuit. Complaint for identity theft. Report of the fraudulent loan. Everything documented. Everything with proof. "This is what you and I are going to fix." The color drained from her face. You can't. I already did." 3 days later, the judge's response to my counterclaim arrived. He completely dismissed the de facto union case. The evidence showed that all the resources, every peso invested in the business, every improvement to the premises, every piece of equipment purchased came from my money, exclusively mine. Renata never contributed anything. The judge, moreover, ordered her to pay the legal costs of the process, $12,000, money she didn't have. Her last attack was desperate. One night, someone broke the windows of the premises. Damages for $12,000. Marcella called me at 4 in the morning, panicked. "Javier, the premises, they destroyed everything. The cameras, they recorded everything. Send me the video." I watched it 3 times. A guy in a black hoodie breaking the windows with a bat. The 4K cameras captured every detail, but the best came in the video from the parking lot across the street. Renata getting out of her car, talking to the guy, handing him an envelope with visible cash pointing towards the premises. The idiot did it in plain sight of the cameras. I sent the video to my lawyer. He called 10 minutes later. "This is real. Completely." Javier, he laughed. For the first time since I hired him. He laughed with the loan fraud and now documented vandalism. She's not going to negotiate. She's going to beg. I saved the video on 3 different devices. I uploaded it to the cloud. I backed it up on a USB that I left in the safe. That night, sitting in my apartment, I opened a bottle of whiskey I had been saving since my birthday. I hadn't touched it. I was waiting for the right moment. I poured a glass. I looked at my phone. I had a message from my lawyer. "Hearing scheduled for Thursday at 10 a.m. Get ready. This is ending." I took a sip. 5 years with that woman. 5 years believing we were building something together. 5 years being a but not anymore. Now I had every proof, every recording, every document, every witness. Renata was cornered, without money, without a lawyer, without an escape. And best of all, she still didn't know the worst that was coming for her. On Thursday at 10 in the morning, she was going to find out. I arrived at the courthouse at 9:30 in the morning, 30 minutes early. I needed to feel the space, to breathe the air of my victory before it began. My lawyer was already there, reviewing documents on a bench in the hallway. When he saw me, he smiled. "Ready?" More than ever, so nervous, he whispered, nodding his head towards the back. I saw her arrive 10 minutes ago, alone, without a lawyer. At 9:50 in the morning, I saw her enter the courtroom. She looked nothing like the woman I had met 5 years ago. The hair she used to take care of religiously, a salon visit every week, $80 per session. My money now fell lifeless, greasy, deep dark circles, wrinkled clothes. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in days. Good. Marcella arrived right behind me. She sat to my right. She didn't say anything. She just squeezed my shoulder. The judge entered at 10 o'clock sharp. Civil case number 2847. Renata Vega versus Javier Mendoza and Marcela Vega. Lawsuit for misappropriation of community property. Renata stood up. Her voice trembled. Your Honor, I don't have a lawyer. I couldn't get one. The judge looked at her over his glasses. Do you wish to represent yourself? Yes. It's just that what happened is unfair. The business was built during our cohabitation. I have a right, ma'am. I will determine that after reviewing the evidence. Sit down. My lawyer stood up. Your Honor, before proceeding with Mrs. Vega's civil case, I need to present evidence that changes the nature of this process. He handed a folder to the judge. 3 folders, actually, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 black. The judge opened the first one, the blue one. He reviewed it page by page. His expression changed. Mrs. Vega, you applied for an online loan in Mr. Mendoza's name. Renata blinked. What, no? According to these documents, a loan for $25,000 was approved using Mr. Mendoza's official ID and a digital signature. The money was deposited into a bank account registered in the name of Damian Ruiz. Do you know that person? The color drained from her face. That's not. He asked me yes or no. Ma'am. Silence. Mrs. Vega, this is not a civil case. This goes directly to the prosecutor's office for identity theft and fraud. No, he forced me, she shouted, pointing at me. He manipulated me. He had me under control. The judge raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, the forged signature corresponds to a loan deposited into a third party's account, not yours. How did he force you to deposit $25,000 into another person's account? She was speechless. My lawyer opened the second folder, the red one. Your Honor, we also present evidence of damage to private property. He connected his laptop to the courtroom projector. The video appeared on the screen. Renata outside the premises talking to a guy in a black hoodie, handing him an envelope with visible cash, pointing towards the premises. The guy nodding. Then the second video, the same guy, breaking the windows with a bat. Every blow recorded in 4K. Perfect. Damages valued at $12,000. My lawyer said with video proof of Mrs. Vega hiring the perpetrator. Renata began to tremble. I didn't. That doesn't prove anything. The cameras have a time stamp, ma'am. Exact date and time. And the contractor's face was identified. He has already given his ministerial statement. He confirmed that you paid him $500 to vandalize the premises. Enough. Renata exploded, banging the table. This is all a lie. He took everything from me. The business was mine. The judge banged his gavel. Order. Mrs. Vega, sit down or I'll have you removed from my courtroom. Renata sat down. She was crying. Snot, tears smeared mascara. The judge reviewed the third folder. The black one. Inside were the bank statements. 8 months of transfers, $15,000 stolen little by little. Mr. Mendoza, do you wish to add anything? I stood up. Our gazes met. She was looking for the man she had stood up at that restaurant. The idiot who had sold his father's workshop for her. The one who believed in our future. She didn't find him, Your Honor. I just want to clarify something. I looked directly at Renata 3 months ago at a restaurant. She told me, he needs me. Our thing doesn't matter. 5 years or nothing. My voice broke. Not from sadness, from controlled rage. She was right. 5 years were nothing. Why? Everything I built myself. Every peso, every improvement to the business, every piece of furniture, every investment, she just took, and when she couldn't take any more, she tried to steal what was left. Renata was sobbing uncontrollably. Javier, please, the documents are all here. I continued, ignoring her. The business was built with $200,000 of initial capital, all from my personal account. She never contributed a peso. She lived for 3 years for free in my apartment. She used my credit cards, and when I gave her everything, she conspired for 2 years to take it from me. The judge reviewed the documents. He nodded. I've seen enough. I completely dismiss Mrs. Vega's lawsuit. There is no evidence of a de facto union that justifies the division of assets. In addition, I order Mrs. Vega to pay the legal costs for filing an unfounded lawsuit, an additional $12,000. Renata stopped crying. She was paralyzed. That's it. In addition, the judge continued. I order that this file be immediately referred to the public ministry for criminal investigation for identity theft, fraud, and damage to official property. Please. A police officer who was at the door approached. Mrs. Renata Vega, there is a warrant for your appearance for serious crimes. You have to come with us. She didn't scream. Wait, can I explain? You can explain at the public ministry. The officer said, taking out the handcuffs. They handcuffed her there, in front of everyone. There were about 15 people in the courtroom. Witnesses from other cases. Lawyers waiting for their turn. Everyone watching. Renata saw me, pure panic in her eyes. Javier, please, you can stop this. Tell them it was a misunderstanding. Please, I didn't say anything. They took her out of the courtroom. Her screams were heard all over the hallway. Marcella came over. How long do you think she'll be in custody? Fraud doesn't allow for immediate bail, my lawyer said. A minimum of 72 hours while the public ministry reviews the case. Perfect. We left the courthouse. The midday sun blinded me for a second. I took a deep breath. 3 days later, my lawyer called me. Javier, you need to hear this. He sent me a recording. Renata's call from custody, her only one allowed. She called her mother. Mom, it's me. I need you to help me. I'm detained. I need money for a lawyer. Please, a long pause. No, what? Mom, please, it's urgent. You're the shame of this family. Renata, don't call again. Don't come back to my house. For me, you no longer have a mother. Click. The recording ended with sobs. My lawyer summoned me to his office on the 4th day. We have a situation. What happened? The public ministry reviewed everything with the amount of the fraud, $25,000 and the documented impersonation. We're talking about 3 to 5 years in prison, but there's an option. What is it? Restitution agreement due to insolvency, my lawyer explained. The judge will give her a criminal sentence, but she doesn't have a cent to pay the restitution for the damages of $49,000. Her public defender knows she'll go to jail if she doesn't pay. The law allows that if the victim accepts the debt, it can be paid with supervised work, as no one else will hire her with an active criminal complaint. Her only option to not sleep in a cell is to accept the job you offer her under strict judicial supervision. She chose to be Marcella's cleaning lady to avoid prison. I did the math in my head. Damages to the premises, $12,000. Legal costs, $12,000. Loan, $25,000. Total $49,000. Minimum wage, $7.25 an hour, 30 hours a week. 10 years, I corrected, deducting the minimum the law allows her to keep for her basic subsistence and the payment of her shared room. The rest of her minimum wage goes directly to the restitution trust between the stolen capital, the interest on the fraudulent loan, and the damages to the premises. It will be a decade before she can buy a brand-name lipstick with her own money again. I smiled. Yes, but with one condition. What is it? That she works for Marcella at the business. Cleaning. I want her to see her every day. My lawyer looked at me for a long time. You're brutal, Javier. She started it. 2 days later, Renata signed the agreement. She had no choice. Either that or prison. They released her on a Friday afternoon. Marcella called me. She starts tomorrow. Are you coming? No, not yet. Let her get used to it first. On Monday, Marcella sent me a photo. Renata, in a gray polo shirt, visible embroidery, service personnel, yellow rubber gloves, mop in hand. I saved the photo. That night, I slept 10 hours straight. Like I hadn't slept since all this started. 14 months have passed since Renata signed that contract. 6 months after the trial, at a networking event for investors. I met Mariana. She has her own import company on our first coffee date. I told her the short version. She wasn't scared off. On the second date, she said, I admire that you didn't let yourself be walked all over. We've been together for 8 months. Marcella's business opened a second branch. She gave me a 30% partnership as a thank you. She bought a BMW 3 Series that she parks right in front of the original premises. Once a month, Renata, the same model she used to ask me for when we were together. We need a real car, not that old thing you drive, she'd say. Now she washes it with a yellow sponge on her knees while Marcella checks her phone inside. My final numbers. I invested $200,000 in that business that was never hers. I recovered $230,000 in 14 months between rent and dividends. I sold the $50,000 ring for $42,000. I reinvested it. It's already worth $51,000. She stole a total of $40,000 from me, counting the embezzlement and the cards. I made a net profit of $80,000, and that's not even counting my peace of mind. I saw her last week when I went to collect the monthly rent. 14 months of physical labor, stress, constant humiliation. She looks 10 years older. The nails she always kept perfect, $60 every 2 weeks. My money are now short, unpainted, cracked from the bleach. The hair she religiously took care of hangs lifeless. She's not even a shadow of what she was. Last month, Mariana and I flew to Portugal. While we were having dinner at a restaurant overlooking the sea in Lisbon, I got a photo from Marcella Renata mopping at 10 at night, alone, the lights of the premises turning off around her. 3 weeks ago, I found her waiting for me outside my building. She was still wearing her cleaning uniform. She smelled of bleach and defeat. Javier, just 5 minutes, please. I walked past her without looking at her. I got into the elevator. The doors closed in her face from the glass lobby. I saw her stay standing there, motionless, as if waiting for me to come down. 10 minutes later, she was still there. I called security. I haven't seen her since. Marcella tells me everything. Last week, Renata asked her for an advance to pay the rent for her shared room. Marcella took out her calculator. You've paid 8% of the debt. No advances until you reach 50%. Renata didn't say anything. She went back to the bathroom to clean. Yesterday, Marcella posted a photo on Instagram of the business record sales this month. In the background, blurry but perfectly recognizable, Renata with a mop. 847 likes in 2 hours. Renata doesn't even have social media anymore. She deleted all of them after Damian exposed her. Damian, by the way, never appeared again. He took the $15,000 from the shared account and disappeared. I heard he's still married with his 2 kids, living his perfect life. Renata was just a pastime, a useful idiot who financed his vacations with my stolen money. The second branch of the business needs cleaning staff. Marcella asked me if she should transfer Renata there. No, I told her let her stay where she is, where the customers who knew her can see her, where I come every month to collect my rent. Mariana asked me a few days ago why I never talk about my ex. I told her the whole story, everything. She was quiet for a long time. Remind me never to piss you off, she said finally. We laughed, but she wasn't entirely joking. Last Friday, I went to collect the rent, $2,000 in cash. As always, Marcella and I toasted with coffee at the counter. Renata passed by carrying trash bags towards a back alley. Our eyes met. I remembered her exact words 14 months ago at that restaurant. He needs me. Our thing doesn't matter. 5 years or nothing. I held her gaze for 3 seconds. I raised my coffee cup. She looked down and continued walking with her trash bags. The door closed behind her outside my car, inside my hot coffee, and the conversation with Marcella about expanding to a third branch. And she's out there in the alley taking out the trash like the employee she is, as she will be for the next 5 years. 5 years cleaning, now those 5 years are going to matter.